Welcome, dear faithful, to the podcast that dives into the sabotage, betrayal, and murder of the current season of The Traitors. We are your Trader Joes. Hello, Joes.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, Joe.
Do you want to give it a go?
We already used that one. We already used that one.
We use it every week.
We do use it every week. Oh, what's
She
your
allegedly
Joe?
never gets old.
What's your Joe? Let me ask.
Today my Joe is a cold brew from a local place called R&A Sourdough. It is a sourdough bagel place that we went to this morning.
Get that bread.
Sourdough. Get that bread. How about you, baguettes?
I have a classic Joe, a Kirkland Water Joe. That's it. She was back in stock, so we're happy again.
Wow. What flavor is she?
She grapefruit,
Raspberry?
pamplemousse, my favorite.
How about you, Jeff?
We got a new one.
Today I'm trying something new. It is Kinship Earl Grey Milk Tea. Born and bred here in Austin, Texas, y'all.
You had a kinship thing last time, didn't you?
No, that was Frank's.
Oh,
Another glass bottle.
Yeah.
Also from Austin, Texas.
Austin's so cool. There's nowhere else in the world that serves like glass bottled like latte drinks like that, except in Austin.
Yeah,
So-
literally everything.
You have to get
here.
it at a bespoke small grocer, like tiny grocer. Like
You have Foxtrot, right?
specialty.
Yes, we have.
This is
It's a
smaller
Foxtrot,
and more bespoke than Foxtrot.
Yes.
but just as expensive, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
More
it's
so.
not more. Yeah, it's 100% vegan. It's nut free. It's dairy free,
Vegan.
and there's no nasties. So
Wow, that's the branding.
that's the branding.
No nasties.
Well,
No
we'd
nasties
like
in
to-
this castle.
Well,
We like to remind everyone Trader Joe's is still open for any sort of ambassadorship, branding.
It's
We will drink
fun.
any-
yeah. If you want
any
us to
drink.
try your new energy drink or milk
Absolutely.
tea, just send us a
Whatever
case.
sugar alternative you want us to try.
Yes, we'll try it.
Yeah.
We're open.
If it's dairy free, it's for me.
It's true.
Watch the companies pile up now that we've fully established.
I think my inbox is going off right now.
It's going off right
Oh wait,
now.
that's a different podcast.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I will say on the other podcast, Miranda was here this weekend, and it was her first time at a Foxtrot. And
grocery
yeah,
minute,
it's
grocery
just-
corner.
Grocery corner. There's just honestly, there's a new sparkling beverage or dairy free alternative drink a mile a minute. Like they just
Yeah.
out of the woodwork. They appear.
Casey works across the street from a new Foxtrot as well.
Listener Casey.
UT
Oh.
campus Foxtrot.
Well,
Whoa.
don't dox her and say
I
where she
didn't know-
works.
There's multiple UT campuses. I can find which one.
University of Tennessee.
I guess I always thought that because Foxtrot is Chicago, but
we
I guess
have them now. Yeah.
The founder, I think, is from originally Austin, so he's come back to his hometown.
It is just funny that Austin has fully become like this haven of like, I don't know, very like blue, but it's like truly in the middle of like one of the.
We're
one of the
we're
worst
living
things.
on an island,
It's literally a bubble. It's so crazy.
and then the government operates, downtown and
Down the street.
against us.
It's so crazy. Anyway, that's for our
Anyways,
Austin moment.
Not why we're here.
Not why we're here. We are here to discuss the latest episode of Traitors and Girls.
A Game of Death,
A
episode
game
9.
of death is being played.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Here we go.
Well,
Let's
it's
bring
been
up
a Game
the
of Death the whole time.
It has been. It has been. And Adam and I still stand by the fact that they should have stage deaths for the murders. So
Yeah. Season
Still
3.
continues to
Season
be
3.
our-
Put it in your season 3 mailbag episode.
Yeah,
in our bingo card, our wish
Yes,
list.
our
Yes.
season. I'm gonna start
Okay.
with season 3 wish list.
So we start out. We left last time on will Kate accept the do or die moment in the
Uh-huh.
dungeon
Cliffhanger.
to be a traitor with Phaedra. And I think if all of us had to guess, we would say yes.
Yes.
She would accept, because if she doesn't accept, she's out of the show,
She's
right?
Ultimatum.
done.
And
Dead.
last year, in season 1, she kind of alluded to wanting to leave, but this time, not so much. So obviously, she accepts. They laugh. Phaedra tells her, "I think you'll make a crazy cool killer."
crazy, sexy, cool killer.
Phaedra is acting in
TLC.
In this.
Thank you. That was a good bit. He didn't even take it.
I think TLC was actually my first physical CD that I
my sister had. Yeah, it was one of my. I remember it was one of the earliest ones that I ever listened to.
I believe I ordered it through my brother's BMG. The catalog, the mail CD service.
Wow, blast from the past.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. But that's how we're
a sliver of our listenership will enjoy that.
Yes, if you enjoyed that, you're definitely over the age of
35.
Leave us a review. So she says yes, and we find out very quickly that there will also be a murder. So they've we got to get people out because this show is almost over.
Were you surprised by this?
I was a little bit, but it was a happy surprise because I was like, I
same.
didn't want this to extend. I didn't want another week of Peter babbling. You know what I mean? I didn't want another week of nothing happening.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's also interesting because now the faithfuls won't know really that somebody was recruited. There's no sign that somebody was recruited.
Yes, that was always the telltale where it's if no one died, then clearly
it's a shield issue or someone was recruited, right? And it could have been a shield issue this week, I suppose, because of the whole Trishelle thing. So
yeah.
Which
I completely forgot when they watched when the episode started. I was like, oh, I completely forgot.
It doesn't turn into a thing though this week.
Well, they ask at breakfast, so essentially, Phaedra kind of tells Kate, what's been happening as the traitors. That Dan was the original,
Parv was the recruit.
She calls
it was
Dan,
shook because she thought Phaedra was a recruit.
Yes. And I think she also thought that Phaedra had a grand plan, and Phaedra has no grand plan.
Let's talk about this.
This is one of two things I want to discuss today.
She basically comes to Kate and she's like,
what are you going to do?
What should we do?
Go ahead. My sister in Traitor.
my sister in Murder.
My sister in Murder. Go ahead. And
my sister in Turret.
What are you talking about? I just got here. What do you mean?
It's I just picked up my cloak at the cleaners.
Exactly. Yeah, she doesn't even have the second layer of the cloak. You can see her clothes underneath the cloak.
It's truly just it's just the indoor cloak, not the outdoor cloak.
Yeah, she's just wearing a choir robe right now.
It clearly shows how Phaedra is playing this game, and it is by another traitor doing all of the work, and she can just kind of play the social game and diffuse.
That has been called out before. And I'm wondering if we were giving Phaedra too much credit up to now.
I know. Or, it was at this moment where I was
I was like, what the heck is going on? You don't have any ideas?
Nothing, girly?
No. Nothing. Well, and it was a strategy to hide behind others. That is a strategy. And that is a strategy I applaud. And
it works in Survivor all the time,
Very effective. But it doesn't work when you're now the only one left. As far as
you're the only one. Yeah. You're basically the leader of the traitors because you are the one coming in. You're the one bringing someone in. You are the person that's been here the entire time. So
it doesn't work when you're the only one left and you can't talk about being the only target left because in Survivor, like you said, you can just try to deflect more overtly. But anything else, because Phaedra's name has come out, anything else she tries to say is suspicious. Anything. So she has nothing to do now. I don't know. It's kind of baffling that she got this far and suddenly has nothing to do.
Yeah. So, they kind of reflect on Dan and Parv. Phaedra calls Dan dry toast, no butter, no jam.
No cream cheese, no preserves.
No cream cheese, no preserves. She's always thinking about that breakfast. Yeah. She's always in the breakfast room.
She is me.
Yeah,
I bet it's good. It looks great. It looks like they have a full international spread every single time.
Craft services.
And the giant pitcher of milk that I always see.
I saw this time there was a label on it. I want to know what the label. I mean, it must say dairy milk.
I'm sure it says right?
I'm sure it is Aramark
Skim.
Yeah. So anyway, they talk about some targets, right? Mm-hmm. Kate says Peter puts the dick in dictator, so maybe him.
Accurate.
Phaedra says, how about Trishelle and her funny little hats? Which, but then they kind of narrow it down. They say Kevin's annoying, and they say, if anyone has a shield, they think it might be Peter because he's, always gunning for the shield.
An alpha male,
He's the alpha male. He's gunning for the shield. They don't know that Trishelle has it, so they kind of narrow it down from what we see to Trishelle and Kevin, which we know that Trishelle would be safe if they ultimately chose her. And then we hop over to breakfast the next day.
And there she is. Now she is wearing, what is she wearing, Branton? Can you explain to me what Trishelle is wearing this episode?
Trishelle is wearing a large green plaid sweater over a very frilly collared shirt and something that can only be described as the green headband from the Parvati collection.
Not the predatory headband. She cannot wear the predatory headband.
I mean, did Parvati's dresser get like reassigned to Trishelle like after she left?
Or Trishelle was like, give me one of those headbands.
It's like in Drag Race, when you leave, you gotta like leave the girl like
everyone's your wigs.
Yeah, with her goodbye note at the mirror, she left.
Nymphial wearing a mandatory meetings wig.
Yes, that's very much what this is.
Literally that.
But like, does Trishelle think that she's Parvati?
The
like
new
Parvati power?
Yes, I believe she thinks
she's like, now that Janelle's gone, now that Parvati's gone, she's
Trishelle
like
one film.
Look at that look at that workroom entrance right there. She said, but I'm back, bitches. Like,
I'm back.
Yes,
I could tell that she thought that she was going to be who the gays were loving. Like, she probably was like, oh my God, the gays are going to eat me up because I've defeated Janelle and Parvati.
What she don't know is
she doesn't know.
The gays are too smart for that.
The gays are too smart for that.
From when she was on the challenge, from when she was on,
and we will never forgive. I will never forgive you, Trishelle, for peppermint.
For peppermint, we don't forget. If there's one thing in it, we do not forget.
We do not forget. Also, we would much rather stand Sheree, who literally has done nothing over Trishelle.
Yes.
So Adam and I said that we were like, Trishelle and Peter, although they're correct, they're doing really good.
They're annoying.
They're not likable. We don't like them. They're not enjoyable to watch. So.
It's like the worst Big Brother alliance. Like, there is an alliance every year that is correct and doing well, but annoying. And this is them. They are like the alpha alliance in the beginning of the front half of the Big Brother season. They're annoying.
It could be worse, but
it could be worse, but
anyways,
I also think that Trishelle is like ready for like Chicago St. Patty's Day on the Green River, like.
Yeah, she's gonna.
She was like, "This is Irish." Like,
she was doing the math. She thought maybe this episode will air in March. That's what she was thinking.
She said, "We're Scotland's Ireland, right?"
Oh my gosh!
Right?
Adam would like to say something. Hold on.
Okay, listener moment.
Hello, friends. I realized, in this week's episode, that I was like, the fake goal of the show is to find who the traitors are. The real goal of the show is to make it to the end, because they're going to be traitor. They're just going to keep replacing the traitors no matter what. So it's smarter to just figure out who it's. Sandra doing the like. I'm gonna. I know it's. What does she know? She knew it was like Parvati or whatever. So she was like, I'd rather just know that it's Parvati and keep Parvati along to the end, and then root her out at the very end.
That's what you have to do.
Because he can't hear us.
They're gonna keep replacing them with other people, right?
He can't hear, but I just want to know, like,
are they agreeing?
Do you?
They are agreeing. But
do you listen to the show, Tamar? We said this last week.
He does not listen to the show. He was like, "Oh, you guys do slides." He literally was like, "You guys do slides?" Oh my god!
We're a visual format. Slides first, visual first.
All right, thanks, Adam.
Yeah. Anyways, yes, thank you, listener.
Thank you, listener.
Thank you for calling in.
Thank you for calling in. Please leave a review.
We take calls live. The show is
I'm getting another one right now.
So anyway, Kate and Sandra came in first. They talk about Peter. CT enters. He also talks about Peter. Says that he thinks Peter's a liar. And that he's a traitor to the faithful. So that's kind of what Kate is pushing as well.
Yes.
Sheree comes in, Phaedra and John come in. Trishelle is the last one to enter in this green look. While Trishelle enters, Phaedra is just chomping down on her eggs. No reaction.
I told you, this breakfast must be so good.
I think I'm Phaedra.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's how I feel most mornings.
So then we get the flashback to Kevin receiving his letter. And you have a comment about this?
Yeah, I said he looked like he raided the merch table at the local production of Hadestown.
Wow. I will say to Kevin's, he does look great. He's got a great face.
Yeah,
he really does got a great face.
Good hair.
This is the best.
Good hair. This is the best he's looked.
The best fitting top he's worn all season.
Absolutely. This
so
actually
you didn't like the brown shirt.
No, we talked about
that. It accentuated the good and the bad.
That
and
weird,
I think
like mock turtleneck Henley thing.
Yeah.
Oh, terrible. So bad.
Yeah, you've never liked a Henley, so I understand.
Yeah. Ugh. Means so put a collar on it.
Put a collar
on it. Okay. So he says, "Do I get to keep this?" And then that's basically
just
all.
So goodbye, Kevin. But you could also tell the production really was like, he probably didn't do anything really. Like he had some zingers on the round table to stir things up, but I think once they hit the Peter pals, I think he was kind of just like
waiting his turn. Yeah, dead
he
in
was
the water.
Kind of just floating along.
This I wonder, like, is this the moment where Phaedra and Kate should have murdered someone closer to them to throw it off, like to throw the scent off? Or do you think it doesn't matter because everyone knows anyways that it's Phaedra?
I don't think it doesn't matter because I think that's the thing. Phaedra would rather have the numbers on her side that believe her, because I think she knows that they're too hot on her trail.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that they did Kevin, because obviously then if they had picked Trishelle, then she would have been saved with the shield, even though I think Trishelle should have been the one to get eliminated because she's just as vocal as Peter. And I think getting rid of that is so much more, I think, would pay off more than like getting rid of Kevin, who people don't really take seriously.
Yeah, there's not really anything, you don't notice that Kevin's gone. Mm-hmm. Like if Trishelle was gone, I feel like you would have noticed it. There would have been references to it. But here it was like, and never to be heard from again.
Yeah, it only comes up as like, do we have the numbers now?
Yeah, literally.
Peter's side. So, Trishelle reveals that she had a shield. Sandra kind of asks her around the room. We get more shots of Phaedra eating breakfast, looking for smoked salmon.
And you know what, Phaedra, as a lover of locks myself, as a fellow locks lover, I see you, I hear you.
Yes, you're heard.
I'm heard.
Yes. It's important that we see ourselves in media.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I just had locks today.
Oh my gosh.
Of course you did. And I think last week when you talked, you had the lox omelet. So
yes, listen, Miss Gout sometimes rears her ugly head, and there's only so few things I can enjoy anymore, and salmon is one of them.
We did listen to the Cheesecake Factory episode yesterday, by the way. It was excellent.
Thank you.
Anyways,
I think we have something there. Cheesecake Factory, and just a whole podcast more about just Cheesecake Factory.
I was gonna say just like an entire deep dive on like one dining experience.
Totally.
Yeah, maybe at like mid-level eateries. Like I do think there's something there. Like the places like everyone goes but never wants to talk about. Like I think that's the niche.
Yeah. Or is it like a race chaser of the Cheesecake Factory menu? So you do have this on the menu from start to finish.
That's a YouTube series. That's a YouTube.
Yeah, that needs to be visuals. I think that's we gotta.
I went and ate everything at come with me to try everything.
Yes, that's
but you gotta. It's a series.
Let's Try Guys territory.
Yeah. Well, literally, y'all. Well, anyways.
Anyway, so Alan comes in. He says, "Peter, bring Kevin to me." And we see Peter slowly go get the Kevin frame off, and boom, he throws it unceremoniously to the ground.
You know what I do?
It was ceremoniously. It was a good throw.
No, yeah, you're right.
What I do like about the show is that the writers are actively watching what's happening as they film. So they get to kind of feed Alan these things of like, make Peter do it, or you know what I mean? It's very much it's actually a lot of like the Korean shows that we watch where they're actively writing and coming up with the stuff as the show as it's being filmed, which I mean, I guess technically happens in Drag Race, but I think most of that happens in the editing floor rather than actually filming,
very much
the host do things.
Yeah. It's what Big Brother should be doing because they're actually filming a live show.
Yeah,
but they don't react.
They're just getting sound bites at the diary rooms, and then they'll make it everything on editing. It's a lost art of TV making.
Why don't you walk us through Alan's look today? What do we got?
Not me, girl, because I'm gonna call these. I don't want to mislabel any correct names for these things, but I do love. I mean, I love this color palette. I think like I'm a green blue girl that I could wear like a deep green and a navy blue for the rest of my life. And so I love the shades,
the glass, like the coordinate those. Well, okay, so we've got full tartan fantasy today. We've got shirt, kilt, shawl, all in the same print. We've got green like camo boots or like army boots, which are great. But Alan is wearing like a piece of the like Prue Leith collection of glasses from Bake Off. Like,
absolutely,
Prue glasses today.
They are really Prue. Yeah, I used to think that this is what I should wear, like really thick rims like these that are like bright colors. But I never think I could pull them off. It does take a certain shape, and I don't know. Alan does it. I
think you should try it. I think you should still try it.
A try before I buy.
Yeah, I mean, you can return. You can return a Warby.
That's true.
You try it on at home.
Yeah.
Do you like the boots? I like the boots, like the shape. I don't know if I would have gone for the olive camo.
I like them in principle. I would never wear them, but I think they work for him.
I like it with the look overall. Yeah, same. If they were like blue, they would blend in, so you wouldn't really notice them as much.
That's true.
It'd be a little more subtle, but it's a great ensemble.
He never disappoints.
So he says, "Finish your macchiatos and meet me at the castle church, and don't be late, or I'll be cross."
I think he's writing his own stuff.
You think so?
I do.
He wears an earpiece.
Does it feel different like the other hosts in the international?
Yes. Yeah, I do think it's a lot more like. I think it's a lot more. Well,
it's a lot more dramatic.
It's more dramatic. I just said like I think he writes it himself because it is more rehearsed. Like they're more like one-liners. Whereas like Claudia in the UK is a lot more conversational. I think she's a lot more. She tries to be relatable.
It's casual. She's also very much like cheering for the faithful and like kind of like their friend along the way,
encouraging them.
As opposed to like here, where it's like I'm the master of ceremonies.
Yes,
like, I'm the one pulling.
This is my.
I am Stanley Tucci in the Hunger Games.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
CT asked John, if he has any words for Kevin, and he says no, bless him, because I think last time he gave words for Bergie.
Yeah. Right? So what do you think that? So like, what do you think that was about?
I really don't think people. I think people were just really tired of Kevin. I think they were all annoyed by him.
Oh, I was thinking that like John got some flack from production that was like, okay, you gotta rein it in.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. They love the diatribes.
I think, they were just using him as
we continue to get them, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
and it ends up becoming like their biggest asset, like on the round table. Like the position of John will be very interesting.
Yeah, how did he become such a player? That's like a really interesting kind of evolution
he's the most
to watch.
Faithful of the faithful, right?
Faithful.
He is.
Yeah. Faithful king.
Faithful.
So king.
In the post-breakfast discussions, we get Trishelle, Phaedra, and CT in the kitchen.
It does. I mean, this is great editing to set it up already.
Because CT is right in the middle between his two gals.
Yeah, very much so.
And I mean, and it kind of sets up like who is CT loyal to? Who is he going to side with? Who's done what for CT? Trishelle's like almost this whole season has been like, pick me, like choose me,
pick me.
Very, very Ellen Pompeo energy. Meredith Grey.
Yeah. So in this scenario, Phaedra and CT are actually trying to convince Trishelle to go after Peter.
Yeah.
And she's not really buying it. I don't think in here. So, Phaedra leaves, and then she kind of catches John and Trishelle, kind of snoops on them a little bit, like talking about the numbers while she's walking through the hallway. Trishelle tells John, like, we're done. We're doomed. We don't have the numbers, right?
Yeah.
And then, the Bravo girlies discuss Peter as well. Phaedra is saying, obviously there's traitor behavior here. Suspicious traitor behavior. Yeah, here's Phaedra
with her security cam shot.
CCTV ass.
CCTV very.
Listening to what's going on.
A lot of like combo snooping this episode.
Yeah, well, it's in the last few eps. Peter talks to John and Trishelle and says we need to get CT and Sandra to make this vote work. Right, those are our swing votes, so that'll come into play later in the episode. So, but as a note, like this is one of the first times that we're hearing the group talk about like rallying votes to get the numbers instead of just accepting.
It is episode 9, people.
I don't even think numbers
figured it out.
This didn't really happen in the first season too, did it? No one was counting votes.
No one was counting or like pre-planning votes, even like missions, which is just another illustration of the fact that like missions really don't mean anything. Like it doesn't.
I do think if anything, I do believe that Suri was counting votes, but I think she never had to use them to like convince people. I think she just always knew
what the votes if she played it that openly, she would have been on people's radar.
She didn't have to she could have one-on-one conversations to get the votes she needed. She didn't have to rally a group.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's just really fast. And maybe, there's plenty we're not seeing, I'm sure. But it was really interesting this episode to see such obvious discussions of like, so there's 9, we need 5. Who's it going to be? Which we get in every other show that we watch. Yeah. It was just interesting that this is like the first time where we're really like even having that, where like all the people who play games like that, like the Survivor Big Brother people, are gone except him.
Yeah, I will say if it always came down to that, it would get exhausting. Like if there was a whole Traitor season that was just that over and over again. Yeah, and so I'm glad that it really is like we're getting a little bit of what everyone's show is good at. Like that's what we like about Survivor. Okay. The drama is what we like. You know what I mean? It
Come
feels
on, RJ, producer Joe.
Yes. It's really like the show is so interesting in that way that it's kind of taking the things we love about the shows.
Yeah. And you know what I will also say is that it is so refreshing to watch a show like this where we don't get just unanimous votes just for the sake of hiding under other people.
Yeah, very like modern day Big Brother and Survivor, where it's like everyone just votes the same.
Yeah, no one wants to put their neck out.
Yeah. So the last pre-mission combo we get is between Peter and CT, where Peter goes to rally CT's vote and check on him, and CT just tells him straight up, like, I think
you're girl.
You are the traitor, right? Like, I don't believe you. You're all over the place. He says like all the smoke and parlor tricks and the booby traps.
Booby traps.
Like, what are you talking about?
What is the word that he keeps saying? It's like something tricks. What is it?
Parlor tricks.
Do you think CT regularly talks about parlors, or did someone feed him that line?
Well, he's giving a little like Boston, New England, right? Where's he from? I mean, we've talked to many people.
Did CT also play celebrity poker? Yeah. It feels very that.
Oh my gosh,
could be. I don't know. He's a challenge vet.
Tamburello, CT Tamburello.
I believe he was on Paris Real World, right?
He's from Brooklyn.
Okay.
Newsboy cap.
He sees the day.
He's in Newsies. He thinks he's in Newsies right now.
Does he know?
He's never even seen.
He doesn't know what
he has
that
no clue.
Okay. Watch the comments roast us and be like, CT actually was in the touring
CT was in a indie theater production of Newsies.
He was actually in a local production of Newsies. So how dare you?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's actually the blueprint for one of the characters. Oh my god! Come for us! Come for us, please, please, please. All right. So it's off to a mission. Let's just ask. Rate this mission 0 to 5 stars before I even say anything. RJ?
I'm going to rate it as a 2 because the tease that it's at the church and you're getting the masked robed disciples to then ultimately be a challenge that uses none of that. That I was like, well, that's a bummer.
2 stars. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's such a specific skill that I'm like, these people have never shot a fucking crossbow before. What are we talking about?
How does this do anything? Yeah.
Before you said 2, I was also thinking 2.
Yeah. And it is really interesting to me that this kind of yields the like drama that it does when, like you just said, there is like no built-in skill to this mission. Like it is ridiculous. It's just not good. So
and the strategy that they kind of land on to like make it through is also just very basic, right?
Yeah. And it takes them so long to figure it out.
I wonder how long it actually took in reality, because
like for shooting. I did the math on how many shots they missed. So
we'll get to that.
I mean, they missed a lot of shots. Anyways, so we get to the church, and like RJ was saying, I think we're led to believe that it's going to be similar to a challenge from last season where they're basically like kind of answering somewhat simple riddles and trying to find someone in the congregation to kind of give them the money. But it's not like that at all. We are met with a really wonderful entrance from Alan. I said, like, this is giving like runway pose at the like on the final maxi challenge at Drag Race. Like the followers part, the hooded followers part, Alan like proceeds forward and then like greets them at the end of the runway. It was very that, which was like probably the best part about this mission in my opinion. And
no change, no adjustment, right? From breakfast?
No, exact same. So wardrobe's running out as the season winds down, I guess. But I believe we'll have something good for the final episode. But
yeah, for sure.
Essentially what they have to do is they kind of get these panes of glass, and their mission is to shoot them out with like a pretty rudimentary crossbow and these like wooden kind of like arrows, bullets, arrows, whatever, some combination of the two. And the catch is every time they miss, they lose money from the pot. So they're just starting with like a sum, and then every shot they miss, they lose. And then whichever pane is remaining last, still untouched, that person's going to get a shield. So they're also at the beginning basically having a discussion of like who's going to get the shield. And it seems like they kind of land on John. Like they're like, let's give it to John. He's the most faithful of the faithful. Like obviously he would be at risk of being murdered, which I think is also really weird that they have this open discussion about the shield, but they basically get to go one by one and take their shots. And it just like takes them forever to figure it out. It takes
forever to hit one because
it's so boring to watch.
It's so boring. There's no sense of like,
there's no stakes
because it's so stationary, like this crossbow, that you can't really aim it correctly. You have to keep missing in order to like, okay.
And at this point, like, I'm like thinking through real quick. Like there hasn't been a mission yet that I can think of where you were trying really actively to prevent someone from getting a shield. Like it's usually set up more in an offensive way of like, I'm going to go for it. Or if I get there first, or if I do the best, or if I make it there, before someone else. Here, which I think is also probably what threw it off for me, which is this isn't really how they're set up. And the structure of the game, like doesn't lend itself to like a knockout really, like, because who would want to play that openly, like at this point in the game too. So I think for all those reasons, it just like didn't really work.
I mean, maybe that was their intention. Like the producer's intention was like, let's see,
let's make them decide,
pit them against each other a little bit.
And so
we did get to see Alan's dog.
Yeah, the dog was back. I don't think we got a picture of that, but the dog was back. Well, it didn't make it in. Anyways, you can talk to the editor later.
He had a nice little coat on.
He did. He was wearing a great coat. But so after, a lot of misses, they finally figure it out. We do get a couple of good lines from Sandra where she mentions like, we're losing money. That's what's going on. If Sandra's going to do one thing, she's going to call out how much money they've lost.
Literally has her own.
She has a ticker tape going in her brain. Like she's keeping track. She has every night. her, Trishelle's notebook has notes on Phaedra. Sandra's is like
hers is just the
math
money.
Tables. Like she's just counting.
Because she's won twice already. She's already computing how much the tax is going to be. So it's like they add more. I'm like, okay, I'm computing.
Yeah,
this is actually only 88.
Like, do I have to get my receipts at customs to get that through? Yeah. Do I get paid here or when I get home? Like,
is it duty free?
Yeah, is it duty free?
Isn't it like you can either do a payment plan or you can have it all in one? Or is that lottery?
I think that's the lottery. But you should always take the lump sum, right?
But always. What happens if she's winning the money? You still have to pay U.S. taxes if you're winning it there.
Well, it's like a U.S. production, so
yeah.
So, anyways, takes more to figure it out. Shockingly, the like main character of the episode, the first one to land a hit, this is like a battleship, is MJ, which like rising star, I'd say. In
MJ has awoken
half of this season.
Yeah, no longer starless.
Yeah, she's getting.
It's the slow backup in the Ed Hardy shirt that started the whole thing for her. So maybe the producers knew. They saw that clip and they were like, okay,
she's got some good lines this episode, especially in the after mission discussions. So she lands on she hits Sheree and it's like, okay, they start to build some momentum. And then eventually they figure out, and this was also true in the UK season 2 where they had the same mission, but basically like they realize that if you just like, if based on where you get it to shoot, if you just like slowly adjust, you can make your way through the target.
Left or right.
So they finally figure that out. But then like the most dramatic thing happens and oh my God, Phaedra with the gloves, come on, in full coat. Phaedra basically could keep going and just, keep knocking everyone out, but then chooses to go like out of the way, readjust the crossbow and takes an aim at
Trishelle.
For whatever reason, lots of people had missed before that.
Yeah, so I think they were like missing on Trishelle, and she was like the last one on the bottom, and then they were like, okay, let's try somewhere else.
It ended up being like Trishelle just isolating.
Yeah.
So that way, if they just knock out the row of 3 up top,
Trishelle will be left.
Trishelle will be left, and the game is done.
Yeah, and Phaedra decided, and I guess the thinking there is like, the more we move it, the more shots we're going to have to take. The more misses, which means the more money we lose.
Which is very interesting because, it was Sandra and Phaedra, which CT catches later. But it's Sandra and Phaedra are like, we should just take Trishelle out now because it's so easy to take out one.
Yeah,
but then it's like, totally also makes sense to leave her alone because then if you just go for the 3, and it's easy to adjust just to move it slightly to the right every time.
Yeah, and basically they were just like really struggling to get CT that Phaedra walked up and was like, hey, why am I going to go after CT? Because he's probably true. I think in the back of her mind, she was like, let me not give him any reson to vote against me tonight, especially if my name's out there. And, I think if there's someone who's on the fence.
Before she got up there, I think you said 7 people had tried to shoot out CT on that first
and they
row.
Just couldn't. Yeah.
And they couldn't. This is it's like an open door, basically, from her perspective.
She's like, let's try something else. This is not working. Right? We're just losing money. And Sandra's like, stop losing money. Let's
Sandra's
go.
Like, let's hit it.
So she moves it. She doesn't actually end up taking Trishelle out, but she definitely refocuses the target on Trishelle, and then Kate eventually gets her out. So then it's down to CT, John, and Kate. So those 3 are left. Phaedra gets out Kate, CT gets out John. And so then CT's left with the shield. Everyone's really happy for him. Yay! Look at Sandra's like, finally we got some money. And so they ended up losing. I did the math. They lost $9,750, which means they missed 39 shots. They got 39 misses. Ooh. So if my math is correct, they had a 17% accuracy rate. They did terrible at this mission.
Yeah, it's so weird. This crossbow, it's really just aiming. And then they just press they flip a little lever to do it. So
I think it's too much chance.
I think there was a reason why when they did the catapult, the thing was so large because you just have to,
because they tested that for sure.
You just have to make it. You just have to adjust to the people that are playing. These are people who have never had to practice aim before.
Yeah, they're not competing in archery at the Olympics. Like,
no. So I do wish that it was modified
in the summer. Like, it's not.
I don't know how they would have modified it. Honestly, if it were like bigger panes, of like maybe they're vertical. I mean, that's also expensive, but you could do vertical columns of panes, and then you can just do.
Why did this have to take place in the church? I think it's like they just want to use the church for a mission.
I think they just wanted to use the church, but didn't end up having. And I just,
Speaking broadly, the challenges have really improved, or the missions have really improved this season. They're much more, there's much more elaborate. They're generally a lot more fun. Like the forest one a couple weeks ago, we all really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
The house was really
The grave digging one was really cool too. I actually really liked that one.
Oh, the funeral?
Yes.
The funeral and the grave robbing one.
Yeah. So in
grave robbing.
So, yes, we love all of these missions.
All the death.
Yeah,
this one just didn't feel.
Anyway,
it just felt they were so out of this. They just, it's not a skill that they would even have anyway. So it just felt so out of place.
Yeah. You think Trishelle did this on Fear Factor?
Definitely not.
No, she probably did it on Celebrity Poker.
Probably. I mean, there's probably like a casino game really similar to this. So
a slot machine, I'm sure.
I mean, it's the same type of chance. Anyways, so I think things really get spicy this episode after the mission, and you can really feel them
tense, bitch. Yeah. Tense drives back to the castle.
Yeah, you can cut it with a knife. I was thinking of a one-liner there, but I got nothing. Anyways, so we get back. Of course, it's time for dinner. Well, I didn't make a note of this, but I know there was like a car conversation. I think it was Trishelle where. Was it Trishelle? What happened in the car?
They did talk about specifically calling her why they all of a sudden targeted her pain.
Yeah, already. Yeah. She's pissed. Like she feels very targeted. She's very sad and upset. And it is really interesting that. Well, I guess no one really suspects her, but she's most nervous about murder. So that makes sense. Yeah. So we get back. Of course, we got a shot of Phaedra grabbing food.
Phaedra is not. She said, "Dirty mac and cheese." What is that?
Do you know what dirty mac and cheese is?
I do not.
Ask your Midwestern.
Adam, do you know what dirty macaroni and cheese? When Phaedra said dirty mac and cheese, I think she was just describing it, right? That it was like.
I think the label has got to say.
Well, you looked it up.
No, I think they put stuff on it. But this is the mac and cheese right there. It's that. No, or is it in the pot?
Well, based on her eye gaze, like I think it's
in the pot.
Yeah. Oh, she was eating baked. We got to find out. I think we'll put this on the list when we get our interview with Phaedra, when we do our exclusive.
What is dirty mac and cheese?
Yeah. So what was the dirty mac and cheese? You mentioned it.
Yeah, everyone's been asked. We have a 90-second Zoom interview with you, and this is what we want to ask.
You mentioned dirty macaroni and cheese. What is that? What was it?
I think we probably have a better chance of getting Trishelle on this podcast because she says she can't do dairy.
Yeah. There you go. We've already got something in common.
Come have a drink.
Come on, have a kinship. Come to Austin.
But that's the thing. Trishelle was like, "Oh my god, that mac and cheese looks so good."
So good.
Do they have mac and cheese at the Cheesecake Factory? Mac and cheesecake?
They've got.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
Anyways, no one cares. No one outside of the three of us is interested in that. So. Time to get ready for roundtable. John. So the three that are locked in are John, Trishelle, and Peter.
And they said it earlier that they
set their sights on. They say Sandra and MJ, so they're really convinced that that's who they think they can pull in. And this is where I was like really interested in the episode.
Yeah, me too.
Like, let's go make your pitch. Let's see if people are going to listen. You know, Sandra's consistent response is, well, let me hear what you bring to the round table, and then I'll let you know, which is like just like a perfect response. Like she doesn't.
Very good response. Very LinkedIn.
She's very LinkedIn. She's very non-committal. And she doesn't get away with it, but I just say like she's able to navigate going in. I don't think they're like convinced that she's going to vote with them, but she just I don't know. She just plays it off really well. I'm probably So they're basically trying to work Sandra at this point, and they think they can get some votes out of her. But I think at this point we all know that Sandra's pretty set on Peter, and they're like the other game that we continue to talk about for Sandra, which is like she probably knows like where the focus is, and so she has no reason to try to steer people elsewhere. And if she keeps Phaedra, there are more people in that castle who are not suspicious of her.
Yes.
Like, I think that's the game going through Sandra's head. What do you think?
Yeah. You've always got to keep a bigger target in front of you.
As a faithful and as a traitor. Like, it really pays off for everyone because unfortunately, even though they, like Peter says it, of like keeping Parvati till the end would have benefited, but that was just too late. So
like, Sandra can watch the group that she's been working with take Peter, they can take John, they can take Trishelle. Like, she's got like 3 or 4 more beats
before it even
is going to come to her.
Yeah.
Like, I think she's making it to the final fire at this point.
Yeah.
I really think based on murder count and banishment.
Yeah,
so
that's her goal. Like, that is the goal.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's not going to happen. And then like we get another Peter one-on-one, which is like, ugh. You take this one. Take this.
Everyone that I have talked to about Traitors and like the discourse online, Miranda was here. Miranda was in town when you watch it, and she literally was
Shout
like,
out to our listener Miranda.
The one of the few Bachelor seasons that I watched was Peter, and it was truly, he was so skeezy.
We had this conversation with someone last
with
night.
Another listener. Shout out to our listener Andrea. We had the same discussion last night.
It's like, and it's so she was like, lucky that this is the episode that she watched because it was like full on.
She should, Miranda, go back and watch the one-on-one with Parvati from last week because it's worse.
That's just it's even worse.
Like, what do you think what is he trying to achieve here through that? Like, what does he get through this conversation?
The thing with Peter is that because he knows that he's right, he's not doing the work to let everyone else in on it. He just thinks that if he bulldozes through and says, I am right, just listen to me, that'll be enough for everyone in the house, which obviously has rubbed Phaedra, MJ, Sheree, and Sandra the wrong way.
And Kate.
And Kate, that if Kate or Phaedra weren't traitors, they still wouldn't have listened to him. They still would have given him those chances in the earlier parts, but then now it's like, after the full switch from Parvati to Phaedra, I think that shows his arrogance, that he thinks he can easily manipulate or easily convince people just because he says that he can.
Yeah, and the other thing is that he doesn't even pretend to have like a strategy behind it.
No, his strategy is like, I'm right.
I'm right. That's right. His strategy is I'm right.
And then he told CT earlier in this episode, like, my strategy changes all the time. That's
my strategy.
Girl, that's not a strategy.
No, girl,
that's not a strategy.
Also,
girl, you a joke.
Girl, you're a joke. Also, there's a cameraman in this shot. Do you see it?
Yes, there.
Wait, through the doorway.
I feel like I'm watching Where's Waldo.
Okay, so
he's taking
the other conversation, which like the other kind of motivation here is that Peter was like, let me pull Phaedra out so Trishelle can go talk. So you're gonna send in Trishelle to try to rally those the
other women,
Sandra, MJ, and Kate,
and Sheree.
They're listening to John. They're not listening to Trishelle.
Yeah. So Trishelle's like, ugh. So,
which I think this is, now that you've explained that, this is probably explains why Peter is looking there, because he's like, oh, Trishelle's working her magic.
Yeah, like let me get her some cover and some time with them, basically, to try and convince them. It's like it ain't gonna happen, but whatever.
Do you think Kate got anything from spying on this
Oh
conversation?
yeah, Kate listening in. Ooh, so good. I think every still of Kate in this show is so good to me. I don't know why.
Because there is something so beautiful about how indifferent she is in a show where it feels like the stakes are so high that it's like,
they aren't.
They aren't, but they're all acting as if they are, and it's so good.
Camp.
These like lame pants. It's giving like.
It's
giving deep cut. It's giving Tempest de Jour, Jaden Dior Fierce, conjoined twins outfit.
Oh my god!
So like LeMay.
Go watch that season 6. Yeah, season 7, like the return episode. Anyways.
I mean, and Stacey Lane Matthews, Gold LeMay Sickness.
Yeah, she wears her Gold
LeMay coat.
Yeah,
season 3.
Girl,
season 3.
Maybe she's listening.
Stacey Lane Matthews for Traitors season 3.
Oh,
do it!
My God,
do it, you cowards!
Put her on the list. List it.
Yeah, we love her.
Okay. Well.
Anyway, so we get some good conversations throughout about people basically trying to like get people on their side, get the majority. It is pretty like ineffective. I think the most important thing we kind of get set up here is MJ's response. So there is this conversation where Trishelle continues to put her case out there before them, saying like, it's Phaedra, it's Phaedra, it's Phaedra. Dan and Parvati wouldn't have given us those names as traitors if they weren't traitors alongside her. And MJ says, and Trishelle basically calls him out and says, like, you all are friends. You're Bravo celebrities together. Like, you're never going to turn on each other. Phaedra knows that, and that's why she's going to win. If she gets this other thing of like, if she just gets to the end, she's going to win. I'm like, well, that's not how the game works. And if you all believe that Phaedra is at some point, like, you can still get her out. Anyways, Trishelle's just worried about not surviving another murder. Yes, that's why she keeps saying that. But MJ says, I didn't come here to win a personality test. I came here to like win this game.
I know what she's trying to say. That's not what she means, but yes.
What she meant is like, I didn't come to win like a popularity contest, I think is what she means. But we get this like huge setup basically that like this whole vote is going to hinge on MJ.
Yeah. Which I wish that they could have gone back to when MJ was like the deciding vote on like Janelle, where she made a mistake. I wish they kind of full circled on that a little bit more.
Can we get like a super cut on the last episode of like MJ vote, MJ reaction, MJ vote, like kind of like
she kept getting it wrong.
Yeah, and like, can we get her like inner narrative of like each of these votes? And the fact that she's still here and now she's basically like the swing is
still,
it's fascinating. Yeah. Because I definitely did not have like anything writing
to write home about with MJ. Yeah.
I was like, who is she? I've never even seen an episode of her show.
Tell you a thing about
I couldn't describe the premise of her television show to you.
It's essentially, it's Bling Empire. It's all the same, but the rich Persian.
Is it real estate?
It's real estate.
No, they're just like rich
they don't sell
Persian.
No.
I thought Bling Empire. I thought these were all like house selling shows.
But Bling
selling
Empire,
Sunset, right?
Selling Sunset is selling real estate.
What is she on?
Bling Empire is just like rich Asian people selling jewelry. She's from Shahs of Sunset, which is just like rich Persian people living their lives, and that's who Reza from the first
last season. Yeah, and you got to have that like that thread. I really thought it was like we sell stuff, so that's why
she's a real estate mogul.
Is she like a nepo baby? I don't know. I shouldn't say any of this.
All the Bravo fans, please make sure to tag.
Yeah, basically, we are going to be refilling my Joe position next season. The posting will be up next week.
The auditions will be up.
Yeah, we need Bravo background on this show. Okay, anyways, MJ, you have brought us many legendary moments, and we support that. So we're gonna find out what we're not gonna find out what she does, but anyways, go ahead.
We go in. So we go into the banishment. The shawl is back, but now covering the infamous like brown like sweater jacket situation that he's been wearing on all of these
post
like literally a month after they were filming. They were like, hey, let's get back to we just gotta fill in.
That's a green screen, mama.
No, he's
there. I think they brought him back.
He's just in the
quick trip for him,
put that layer on top.
Yeah. But I bet they just did this was all in one day, mama.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so we get into the banishment, the round table, and right off the bat, John is like, I've been silent for so long.
Yes.
John, who has now been declared the king of all faithfuls, the most faithful of the faithful, everyone really respects what he says and what he thinks. And so he basically starts by laying this out for Phaedra that they need to get her out. So they say, John says that Phaedra is a traitor. Two people who have been banished that are traitors have both named you. In order to, you have really done a great job with banishing the traitors, and her approach has been to avoid error by flying low, which I think that's the thing with, we gave Phaedra a lot of credit, but I think now we're seeing like it's not a very sustainable strategy. You have to get to a point of like Okay, fly low under Dan and Parvati, who are very much more like dominating personalities. But once you know they're on their way out, you have to adapt.
You can't make it this long with your name floating around. You can't. No. You don't got 9 lives.
But she's got those Bravo girlies.
She does, and that's the thing. She's very
numbers are in her favor. That's right. If your name's going to be out there, at least have the numbers.
So John says she is non-committal by day and faithful under cover of darkness, and then says you are a traitor and should be banished for eternity.
Listen, when you become an MP, is there like a course you take on
there's gotta be
like oratory? Like, is there?
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Because but also he seems like someone who has
he's
to
giving big speech and debate energy.
Yeah, totally. He definitely did oratory. He probably he qualified to nationals. I could see John winning nationals for sure in oratory. Totally. But he also gives me like he also gives me like boarding school vibes where they did have to do like speeches as a thing.
I mean, yeah, for sure.
I mean, come on. So this is Phaedra's response. She's like, okay, all right. She says, I'm glad you're not God. This is not Parliament, so you can bring it down a notch.
Come on, so good.
She knows how to get them back.
She does. And that's the thing. She knows that the people are living for everything she's saying.
Yes. All of it.
So she knows that she can get away with digging into these people in this roundtable, because obviously everyone also in this roundtable is like, yeah, we're just playing a game.
Yeah.
I'm not coming out of this being like John and Peter are so offended. I know they don't care.
Yeah, we're never going to be friends again.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm never seeing you people ever again after this. So it does not matter.
Oh, the person seeing these people the least after this show is Phaedra Parks.
It's Phaedra Parks.
I mean, she showed up for the press day.
Yeah, but I'm saying when it's over.
But she was with Sheree and Bergie, so
yeah, after the reunion, yeah, Bergalicious. Well, actually, Bergie was with Janelle. They were they drove in from. They drove
in.
No, they didn't drive in.
They took that Metro in, girl.
I feel like they had a car together. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Phaedra basically. She also knows that the more like crazy the things that she says, the better the show is going to do. So it feels like it's very knowing, and that's why we just get to enjoy. It's like, oh yeah, get these.
She knows what to do.
Yeah, give me another round table with Phaedra. We'll sign up. We'll tune in.
So she says both the traitors were both in collusion with your bromance friend Peter. And so she is now basically doing the rebuttal, trying to dig in that Peter has tried to work with the traitors, and now all of a sudden tried to pit it against me.
And last week tried to save a traitor.
And
a known traitor.
A known traitor.
So Phaedra responds to John, but then diverts to Peter in that way. And Peter is basically just like, I don't understand. Like, she's like, they're just going at it. Peter is obviously caught, but it's like, why would I do that? Blah, 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 blah. I'm doing it because we know Parvati is da-da-da.
I'm the faithful, and I know
I'm the faithful. We know Parvati is such a traitor, so we're going to bring her. Like, it's just easier to da-da-da-da-da-da. And Phaedra,
bring it. Read it.
Phaedra finally says the line that has been teased to us all season long. And she says, this is not The Bachelor, and I don't have to kiss your ass for a rose. And everyone is gooped. Everyone is gagged. Peter is like, wow.
Okay, pause. You watched this with other people, right?
Oh, yeah. With Marina.
What was the reaction to that line?
It was just celebratory. You know, it was like we've reached the finish line.
We need watch parties for lines like this. We need, that meme where they just like put it on the TV in the bar.
Put it on a TV of like a sports game. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's it. It's this.
We need watch parties for Traitors. I'm surprised we don't, but maybe
when's season. Roscoe's gonna start
Traitors?
Maybe not. Roscoe's.
They need to cast more gays, I think, and then I think we'll do it.
Yeah.
But Peter basically is like, there was a little bit of like a little space in my heart that would have been like okay with everything, but I think what you just said to me really sealed the deal, and I think I really hope you get banished tonight, because that's taking it too far, which is not.
It's not taking it too far. Come on.
She didn't name your wife. She didn't name anyone in your family. She talked solely about you.
Yeah.
And basically his main rebuttal was that, like, I rejected your letter when he was recruited.
There's not much reaction that we're shown to that line.
No, because no one knows about it, remember?
Only I think they've forgotten. And I don't think people believe him. Not
at this point, no.
I think it was just the Peter pals that believed him.
Yeah, and there's so few.
It's just Michelle's and John. So it's like going to deaf ears because they already know, and everyone else is like,
no one else believes. No one cares. Yeah. No one cares.
So they try to divert the other attention.
Yeah, sorry. And I think also with Parvati gone, it's only like Phaedra who's like the potential traitor. And it's like, why would Phaedra invite Peter? Like
Peter, yes. There's
like it just seems so out of what was
realm because she's been so vocal about like
Peter, so they're like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. They basically asked the audience to see, like, well, okay, now does anyone else have anything to say? And this is when CT has now appeared. So we before the round table, there was a moment with CT and Trishelle. CT basically pulled Trishelle in a room and was like, okay, I really think that whole thing about targeting you during the game was so weird. And I saw Sandra and Phaedra do it. So I think
about it, planning it.
They are definitely yes, they are definitely traitors. And Trishelle was like, don't say Sandra. Let's focus on Phaedra because we have the numbers for Phaedra at least. And so
maybe she's learned her lesson. Kind of
a wise move, Trishelle. Okay.
I know that was saying, but I don't like her.
I know, but okay, we still give credit for good game on this podcast.
We will still give credit for a good game, but she's not likable. Anyway, CT brings up the mission. He even draws a little diagram, as seen here, where it's like the 3 in a row.
Why would you be shooting up here and then move all the way down here?
Yeah, and so CT says, it brings up that like it's very weird to target Trishelle in that way. Obviously, Trishelle is like, "Oh, my name is brought up. Let me now finally talk." My time to talk. I'm so excited. and really they've just kind of now started to point the finger back again at Phaedra.
Yeah, they're just piling on Phaedra at this point. I was surprised that she lost CT. I mean, again, he's not wrong, and like he noticed something like accurate. But maybe next week we'll get the fallout of this. But we really need we need to see what happens to their love story. Like we need an act 3 from them.
I'm seeing so many fan edits on TikTok and Twitter. It's what makes me happy. So
that's why I'm like, I want to see what the show does about their relationship.
Yes, if they run with it.
Yeah, because, and I think that's why we're getting, because there would be, no matter what, Phaedra getting this much heat and getting a vote from CT, I think next week sets up so much story.
Totally.
That they had to carry over the actual result, no matter what it ends up being.
Yeah, which is interesting because CT has now done this for both Trishelle and Phaedra now, so it's very interesting.
That's true.
So they're just trying to get who everyone else is. And Sandra and Sheree are still very solidly that Peter is the traitor. The actions of last week, switching from Parvati to Phaedra, was just such a big,
you can't undo that,
big clash to them that they couldn't undo it. Yes. Peter, that's when Peter says that bringing Parvati along to eliminate at the end because she's obviously a traitor, that was kind of like the strategy. But then once again, it still undermines well, then you're keeping a traitor on the show longer for people to die. You know what I mean? Or it's just, I think this is why I think Kate really lays in on you're still being a traitor to the faithful. So that's the bigger
She loves that line. She loves that line.
I do think Kate, she does feel really lost as a traitor right now. And that's really the only thing that she feels strongly that she can stick her guns to, because she does show nerves,
and it won't show any
doubt,
or I was gonna say or any change from where she was a week ago before she got that recruitment basically from Phaedra. So it's biggest.
She's so scared about that, right?
So she's like, let me just stick to the message I've already been putting out there, so then no one can come to me and been like, why'd you change your story?
Yeah, because that happened to Peter, and now everyone thinks he's a traitor.
And now look at him.
So we get down to the votes. And you need a majority 5 to to get someone out. The votes for Peter are Phaedra, Sandra, Sheree, and Kate.
We got 4.
And the votes for Phaedra are Peter, John, Trishelle, and CT. So
the CT vote.
The CT vote. So now the deciding vote is going to be MJ.
Yeah.
I started screaming as soon as the credits started.
Well, and even beforehand, whenever they picked the person next to her to be first, I was like, oh, it's going to come down to MJ. And then the credits are rolling in, and I was like, are you kidding?
I know.
We've talked so many times about how this show lives on cliffhangers, so we should not be surprised.
I mean, season 1 was filled.
Yeah, it's surprisingly got fewer, but
at least it didn't matter to me as much because I binged watched that one because it was already all available.
They all released at the same time.
Yeah, they were dropping them all. Yeah.
Yes.
So this one it's more frustrating because the cliffhangers are more, I would say, cliffhangers suited to so you can keep watching the next episode. It's a streamer binge cliffhanger as opposed to like a weekly TV show cliffhanger.
Yes. Totally. Keep them hooked.
So smart about TV.
Yeah, I know, producer Joe. I mean, we do like this is the point where it's like we already talked about it, but it's like if you want to be spoiled, like you should probably sign off now. But I mean,
so yeah, let's look at
this a different way. What does MJ gain by eliminating Peter, and what does she gain by eliminating Phaedra? Like, what does she have to gain? Assuming she's playing this from like I want to further my game. You know, like what does she get from voting Peter out? Like, what does she get from that? Nothing.
I mean, if
she keeps like she probably knows where the other side is. Like she knows where the majority of her people are. So it's that same idea of like, I don't have to put myself out there in a different way.
I think that's what it is. It's like, let's stick with the plan. Let's stick with the group, right?
And if Phaedra is a traitor, I don't want to give her a reason to murder me.
Right. We can deal with that later. I want to make it to the end.
Yeah. If she's starting to think like that, what do you think? Like, does she gain anything by voting Peter out?
I can't even think about like a deeper. I don't think they think deeper. I don't think they're thinking this game like Sandra is, where she's like, I have to make it to the end, and then I can convince people at the final flame or whatever.
Yeah, I think Sandra is thinking like, I can make sense of who's who and what they're doing. At that
and
point.
Trishelle is also thinking that way.
Yeah, I don't think MJ is operating.
Is it like from that? Did Trishelle and Sandra split the pot? Oh my god!
Oh no!
Oh no!
Or did they get there with Kate?
But no, because Trishelle thinks she's a traitor.
Sandra?
Trishelle thinks Sandra is a traitor.
Yeah, right now
we'll see.
So,
I don't know.
So the spoiler alert of the
okay. Before we get to the spoiler alert, the girls were spitting their reels on Twitter. Obviously, freeze framing it, trying to see. People think that she threw away her vote, so they had to re-vote.
Really?
What do you mean? Like she did like a third person?
Else?
She said a third person.
And that we're going to get that or we're not going to get that?
No, we're going to get it.
We're going to get it. So then
I forgot how it works.
Because it's a tie, so they just vote between Peter and Phaedra, which is essentially what they did again.
So we're just going to get, okay, whatever.
It might go to the second.
But then she'd have to pick one of them.
Yeah, she would have to pick.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not that. Just give us the vote now if that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I know people are trying to figure out like how many letters are on that board. It looks like a pretty small name. Like it looks like it could be
literally.
Right. But she writes
small name.
She writes really in like small text. So perhaps that's what it is. I don't know.
Maybe she just voted for John.
Yeah. Just like, I don't care.
Prior to the show airing, Bravo released that supercut of all the like Phaedra moments, and it was like, okay, this like Phaedra's goodbye, right? It's this like
that's what I said. Yeah, that like crazy reel.
We talked about that.
Either she's winning. So,
spoiler alert. What's
the tea?
What's the tea? What's the Nancy Drew?
So the Nancy Drews on the internet you dissect whenever there's a reality show that releases a preview, either it's the next episode or a
the season
teaser. The Nancy Drews at this point will go through and count the number of looks and try and count the number of challenges, different challenges that are
or just shown. Like appearances. Like how many times is this person going to show up?
So in some preview, there is one more challenge, which matches the final challenge from the UK, which was in episode 10.
Yeah.
So the next one.
And Phaedra is present, jumping in water from like one platform to the next platform, holding a gold bar, I think it is. Gold bar coin. So everyone is pretty convinced that Phaedra is continuing after this episode.
Peter is the one that
so that would mean that
Peter how long before Traitor starts pulling some producer shenanigans and then people get revived and battled back and all that stuff? I hope they never do.
I hope they never do that.
Keep it pure.
Do like.
I mean, they brought Kate back mid-season.
Here's the thing: I do, but that's in a new season. But I think if there's opportunity to have people come back, it should be the banishment over the murder, because technically murder is dead. But if you've been banished, you may be able to like redeem yourself.
That's true. You've only been banished to
but then they would have to change it. They would have to change it to be like, you can't say. You actually won't know if you're a faithful or a traitor. Because that's the whole thing. You can't come back if you don't know if you're a faithful or traitor. So...
we'll see next week.
That's messy. So we'll see next
week.
People
are going to be tuned in.
All right, Garleys. It is episode 9. We just finished 9. There is one more episode and then the reunion.
No.
We have 2 episodes.
There's 2 more episodes than the reunion. Reunion is 12.
Sorry, girl. We have at least 3 more episodes to record.
Okay, so on our episode 9, who are we most faithful to?
Currently, I was Kate. You were Kate. You were Sandra.
Yeah.
All right. You want to go first?
Is anyone changing?
I'm changing.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. I'll go first.
All right.
You're not changing.
I am most faithful to MJ.
Shut up! Oh no!
Shut up! No, you're not.
We just lost all our listeners.
Shut up, girl.
Because
do your show.
I am faithful to her pants, but that's it.
To the pants.
Faithful to the Jinkos.
To the Jinkos. No, I'm remaining true.
Fine.
With Miss Sandra.
Great.
All right.
Yeah, I'm faithful to Sandra.
Oh.
I think I'm faithful.
I'm coming back.
Welcome.
And I'm gonna say,
got room for one more.
Welcome, foolish mortal.
Yep. I think we're all 3 on Sandra.
Yeah. Let me just finish this one out.
I just think that it is such a clear path now.
Yeah. My one question is, will she realize that Kate is a traitor? If Kate makes it to the final 4, will she?
Oh my God! Sandra gets to the final fire and Kate's still there. Oh, that's wild.
I could see that happening too.
Yeah. We really got to see what happens, because Kate, I mean, we did get that seed this week of MJ being like, "What's wrong, Kate?" Yeah. And it could be nothing. It could be like totally misplaced.
Maybe that's why we should park on MJ.
Just be quiet.
Or that plants enough of a seed for Sandra to pick up. So that way, when they get to the final fire, she's like, I think there was a shift, and there is one more traitor here.
And it's Kate.
And it's
not Kate. Drop the red flame. All right.
Amazing. Well,
Joe's.
We don't have Alan's looks because they're all the same this week.
Oh yeah, I didn't do a final.
Favorite. I think I like the glasses a lot. Oh, you
take the glasses. I'll take the boots. I'm gonna boot it.
I was gonna take the boots, but I'll take the glasses though.
Okay, fine.
All right.
There you go.
That's it, Joe's.
Well, thanks, Joe's, and we'll see you next time. And don't forget,
I'll see you next week, Joe.
Oh, that's right. We're having a surprise. Are we watching? Do we have to watch it?
That's kind of late. We can figure it out. We can talk about it offline. I did wonder today if because the timing of it is, but depends on our schedule.
Yeah. All right.
I'll watch it.
We're gonna watch it. I think it's a matter of in what
will we at the time.
In what configuration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get us a table at the Cheesecake Factory now. Make sure we're
reserved. Do they have, hold on, wait. Do they have TVs at the Cheesecake Factory?
In the bar?
In the bar. But are they showing it live on NBC?
Anywhere?
No.
No. Right? It plays a couple weeks delayed on NBC, and I don't know any bars that are pulling up Peacock. But maybe we'll see. Queer icon MJ. Maybe she'll be. Maybe next week.
Bring an iPad.
Bring an iPad to the Cheesecake Factory. All right,
girls. This is not long enough. Thank you, Joes, and don't forget. Make sure you stay faithful.
Stay faithful. Like, comment, subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe. I'd stay faithful.
Discovering voices, building worlds. The Ampliverse.